Thank you, Madam Speaker. So the government has finally released their housing strategy after months of excuses and delay, and almost 1/3 of the funding in that strategy is a no strings attached tax cut that may or may not create more units or more affordability. Other funding includes more modest pre-existing programs like the Seniors Care Grant, not designed for housing. When the minister was asked how the plan will magically result in more housing beyond what was already coming, he named, quote, robotics, printed housing, and many other innovations. Not in the plan, not sure what that means. My question to the Premier is, why produce a plan if it won't help families afford housing?
The Honourable Premier.
You know, I'm sorry to the Honourable Member with what she characterized as excuses and delays. The Honourable Member may know that during that time, Nova Scotia suffered historic forest fires, incredible loss of property, incredible turmoil in people's lives. The Honourable Member may know that, well, what she characterizes as inconvenient excuses and delays, we lost 4 souls in flooding. There was a lot happening in the province, but what hasn't stopped, Madam Speaker, is our commitment to make sure that Nova Scotians have safe, affordable housing. We will continue to push forward on that, and I apologize for these inconvenient excuses and delays that the member is so upset about.
I recognize the Leader of the New Democratic Party.
2 weeks ago, the Premier said the plan wasn't coming. 2 weeks ago, the minister said he didn't really know about a plan, didn't seem like they were going to release it. Those are the excuses and delays to which I am referring. The Premier keeps repeating that his government is making the first investment in affordable housing in 30 years. They aren't. The reason he keeps emphasizing the 222 units of public housing is because there's nothing else in his plan that will meet the vast need for affordable housing. Experts say 33,000 units. This is certainly not a generational investment. When is the Premier going to have a plan that will actually build affordable housing?
I recognize the Honourable Premier.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I asked the member to table my comments and the minister's comments. What I've always said. What I would say and will say and will continue to say over and over again is we don't wait for glossy plans. We get going. And the member can be disappointed that there's only 222 units that we've announced so far, but I will remind the member that's 222 more units than her government did and 222 more units than that former government did, and we will keep going because that's what Nova Scotians have a right to expect from this government.
I recognize the Leader of the New Democratic Party on her final supplementary.
When I was elected, long after our government was in power, the waitlist for public housing was months. Now it's 4 to 5 years. It is a different universe. This plan uses population projections that are out of date, and I will table that. It has no requirement that the vast majority of units are affordable. It has no definition of affordability. It has no plan for people sleeping outside this winter, no new protections for renters. And as Hannah Wood, the chair of the Halifax chapter of ACORN, has said, it takes credit for housing that was already in the process of being built by municipalities and not-for-profits. When the minister was asked about these housing projects that he is taking credit for, he named an organization that doesn't exist, the North End Community Housing Organization.
Question.
When is the Premier going to stop with the fantasies, come up with a housing plan, and get families into homes they can afford?
The Honourable Premier.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And the fantasy stopped 2 years ago when Nova Scotians elected a PC government, and that's when they start to get to action. Now, the member has said we haven't done anything. Well, I can remind the member of certain, developments that are happening where approval times have been shaved by about a year or more in some cases. There's one that, you know, certainly in Eisner's Cove, I know the member definitely doesn't want houses built there. Just build them somewhere, just not there. We will build houses. We are moving forward. There are bills before this House right now. The HRM bill that's before to increase density, to get more safe, affordable housing for Nova Scotians. That's a government that couldn't even get, that's a party. Help us if it ever becomes a government. But that's a party who couldn't even get behind the Patient Access to Care Act. Now they
I
want to lecture us on how-
recognize the leader.